There is a reason why I have never made a great big video about like my dope quitting story or this is how long I've been clean for. I've never made that video. Don't really function well as a fully sober person. A really wonderful new doctor there is willing to make me a guinea pig. I am cockroach boy, I am unkillable, but obviously like medical professionals don't really want to just trust in like, look dude, I'm unkillable, fucking throw it at me, you won't take me down, I'm a rhinoceros. They want to do these things properly, so unfortunately after rehab we go. I'm not looking forward to this. It's kind of my worst nightmare. I am a huge control freak, let alone being thrown into withdrawal and all of that stuff. Well, hello, you beautiful citizen of cyberspace. Are you one of the several people who has said recently that you miss the old school vlogs I used to make? Because if you are, that's really good, because I'm about to take you to rehab and we're going to have a rollicking great time there, I'm sure. Not. Yeah, I appear to be going to rehab. Not super chuffed about that, and I will get into all of that in a minute. So if you would like to go and grab your crochet, your artwork, your popcorn, whatever tickles your pickle, we will get into my many grumbles about UK mental health treatment, drug treatment, why rehab, all of that business. So basically, I am going to rehab in, I think, a week and 3 days at the time of recording this. I am fucking terrified. And what has happened is that, as I have mentioned a few times over the past 5 years, for the past 5 years, I have been pissing and moaning and banging my head off a brick wall with my drug treatment team regarding a change in medication. Because the UK system of drug treatment is that there is first-line treatment, i.e. Suboxone, methadone therapy, and then there are the people who are square pegs in a round hole, like me, and if you get to be about my age, I'm 40 now, and you have jumped through certain hoops, i.e. you've tried the Suboxone tick, you've tried the methadone tick, you've tried the therapy tick, and you're still something of a clusterfuck. And I would say my state of clusterfuckery, it's never really been great. Like there is a reason, there is a reason why I have never made a great big video at any point in the 10 years or so that I've been on YouTube. I have never made a big video about like my dope quitting story or this is how long I've been clean for. I've never made that video because the fact is that I have always been a bit of a slipper upper, like literally always have been a bit of a slipper upper when it comes to this stuff. I have never found the whole sobriety thing easy. I don't really function well as a fully sober person. Sometimes, like for the majority of the time, Cali sober is what I survive on, a few mushrooms on the side, things like that. But opiate wise, I seem to fuck up. I've just always seemed to fuck up on a semi-regular basis. It just seems to happen. But I mean, things are not worse, I would say. Things are not worse than they have been in a number of years. It's just that things are not perfect and have never been perfect. And something that I'd just like to get in here regards self-medication and functionality generally that I have always found being in an autistic ADHD brain a very hard to deal with situation. And if I don't have some way to self-medicate emotions, it all goes very awry. Like the point at which my methadone was tapered to its lowest extent, and it was kind of like, okay, we're looking at tapering you out of the service, like, you know, time to have no meds, time to be normal, we're going to discharge you. And all of that should have been really positive. But unfortunately for me, it meant that I had nothing to self-medicate with, and I was getting more and more and more kind of sober and closer to baseline, which is, you know, self-destruction for me is clean-headed baseline. It has always meant self-destruction. And that was when I became an alcoholic, despite the fact I don't like drinking. I've never liked alcohol. I've never found it enjoyable, but it was somewhat better than nothing. except that very rapidly spiraled into drinking all day and all night, 40 units a day, the worst, most destructive, most awful addiction I have ever had to date. And I managed to knock that on the head when the methadone was cranked right back up again. And then, over the last 5 years, with my mental health having just been in the garbage for a lot of that time and having felt very suicidal for a lot of that time, there have been quite a lot of nights where it has literally been, I am either going to exit right now or I'm going to have to go and get something and use it. And that will just get me over tonight. And maybe I won't feel so bad in the morning. And literally strategic slipping up, I think, is the only reason I'm still alive. My mom was asking me about these meds the other day and was saying, oh, wouldn't it be better to just be on nothing and all of this? And it's like, everyone gets started on these things for some reason. And if people have clung to being on methadone for 16 years, as I have, there is a reason for that. Don't think we haven't tried being without these things. And, all my life I have been addicted to something, whether that is self-harm, whether that is eating disorders, whether that is some sort of addiction. It's never going to be perfect for me. It's always going to be a case of finding the least worst option. And the great thing about this doctor is that he's also going to look at ADHD meds for me once all of this is over. That I was refused ADHD meds because of the complexity of all my mental health history. Yay! When you get to my age and you're like a lifelong mental health patient, they just go, yeah, you're a write-off. You're always going to be a write-off. There's no point trying anything new. And that is so fucking depressing. So I am so happy that this doctor is actually willing to see me as a human being who potentially, is still worth looking at the future of, even though you're walking in kind of going, yeah, I have no future and I don't want to be here and all the rest of it. So huge respect to this doctor. He's brilliant. And if you are in this situation, i.e. you're my age, you've tried all the first line treatment options, Suboxone, methadone therapy, and you're still a bit of a clusterfuck, you are, according to government guidelines, you are entitled to second line treatment. Now, regarding that second line treatment, I have written a whole flipping book about it, so I don't really see the point going into huge detail about that. The book is Exit Note by Dorian Bridges on Amazon. I will leave the details in the drop-down box below. It is like a fictionalized story, but it does explain about this medication, how useful it is, how much it matters, how it is available, but you kind of can't get it. And anyway, in short form, second line treatment in the UK is basically prescription heroin. It is available. People are on it. Ironically, if I lived in either of the two counties to the left and to the right of where I live, it would be available. And I have literally tried to move house in order to get this, but it's a chicken and an egg situation. You can't get the assessment until you've got the right postcode, and you don't really want to make the whole house move until you know you've had the assessment and you know you're going to get the meds. But anyway, so much stuff stood in the way, and in the end I could not move house to fucking get these meds, so I was stuck with my treatment team, who basically, they won't give it to anyone new. And that was basically where we got stuck for years and years and years. Fortunately, in about the last year and a half, there has been a really wonderful new doctor there, and he is willing to make me a guinea pig, basically. So what is happening, I am going to try a medication that has not really been used in this situation before. It is an opiate, but it's just like an oral opiate. If this all works, I will fucking explain everything, because the big hope here is that if this works for me, then it may become a common thing. It may become a route of treatment for other people. So I may become an interesting case study one day, who knows? But the big catch, obviously, with this is the rehab element. Because when they started saying, look, there's this kind of compromise route, there's this med, this opiate that we could give you and see how it goes, that sounded great. Until they decided they want to put you on it in an inpatient setting to make sure that everything goes right and that no one overdoses and dies. And I'm kind of pissed about this, realistically, because Like I've never been to rehab before. I've never really done inpatient of any sort before. It's kind of my worst nightmare. I am a huge control freak. And also I feel like it's really unnecessary because I know how unkillable I am. Like literally, I've just had pop up on my Snapchat memories this time last year, I took myself off to a hotel room for a little bit of a holiday, and I ended up getting drunk the first night and then trying to off myself via the medium of taking an enormous amount of prescription medications. I ended up calling my friends, and I didn't need anything from the hospital. I didn't need the naloxone because basically my body is so screwed up that it reacted to the colorings in the methadone I'd taken. I'd taken so much methadone, my body reacted to the colorings in it, and my heart actually started racing rather than slowing down, even though I'd taken a shitload of CNS depressants. I feel really confident in the fact that my tolerance is high, my body is weirdly cockroach-like and just won't die, and I feel like we could do this at home in the most haphazard way and I would be fine because I am cockroach boy, I am unkillable. But obviously, like, medical professionals don't really want to just trust in, like, look dude, I'm unkillable, fucking throw it at me, you won't take me down, I'm a rhinoceros. They want to do these things properly. So unfortunately, after rehab we go. And I have not been having a great time with the preparatory stages of all of this. For one thing, one of my friends has actually been to this rehab clinic and they had an absolutely abominable time there. They did actually have to leave before everything was sorted with them. I don't want to get into their business, but basically they were there for one thing. They have health issues that mean they're on other medication. Their other medication wasn't given to them. It was taken away. So they were thrown into double withdrawal plus the health issues they have being unmedicated, and it got so unbearable they had to leave. And it does unfortunately sound like some of this chaos and incompetence may still be going on with this place, because I've had a nightmare of a couple of weeks being told one thing by one staff member from this rehab and getting prepared with like, okay, so this is how it goes, this is what I can bring, ba 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 ba. Then I had a Teams meeting with the manager and she told me completely different things, which, you know, if you're autistic, you don't get on well with plans being changed at the last minute, with being lied to, with uncertainty. That's quite scary because, yeah, basically when I get there, I am going to be given no methadone for about 2 days, depending how quickly I start withdrawing and start feeling like shit. I am going to feel a certain level of shit before they give me the new meds, which does not sound like a super fun riot to me. And also, I don't even understand why this is necessary. And I am kind of going to have some conversations with them when I get there because I find this so unnecessary. I don't see the rationale for pushing someone into withdrawal when you're just going to give them an opiate anyway, because we're not talking, as I say, we're not talking about Suboxone or anything. We're not talking about a flippy floppy opiate where you have to go into withdrawal to flip your brain chemistry around so that you can go on the new one. It's not that. It's a straight opiate. So there's no need to me for this. And you also know if you're any sort of opiate user, you know if you push yourself into withdrawal, usually you need a higher dose to straighten you out because you're in a deficit at that point, and they're only going to give me a 75% dose, as the translation from my methadone to this new med. They're only going to give me 75% and then crank it up until I feel okay. And it's like, why? Like, what is the purpose of that? Like, I feel like it would make more sense to just say, look, don't take your methadone the first day you come in. We will piss test a check, because you can see on a piss test whether someone has taken their methadone that morning or not. So they could have just said, don't take your methadone, we won't give you any that night, and we'll give you the new med the next day, so we know you've not had it for 24 hours, and then we will start you on the new med. Because to my mind, when someone is on an even keel but they're like due for their medication, that is when you give them a new med. Like, why push someone right into withdrawal? What is the purpose? It's demented. But I will say things have kind of worked out quite well with this, because as I've kind of mentioned, I have over the past couple of years, honestly, had a few attempts at really fast tapering my methadone, and generally I've ended up failing because I keep getting chest infections whenever I try and fast taper my methadone. So that, I feel like, is another risk of this. Like, my body is just old and fucked, and I've been on methadone for 16 years. So when you take it away abruptly and you force me into withdrawal, I get a fucking chest infection every time. And I've literally been told by doctors, will you stop doing this, please? Will you please stop fucking with your methadone? Stop not taking it. You know, you're too old. You've been on it too long. Stop doing this to yourself. Because we don't want to keep giving you bloody antibiotics, kind of thing. So it just seems really detrimental for various reasons. But the reason I'm glad I've done all these stupid fast tapers is that I've gotten used to being in withdrawal. And I've gotten used to, like, okay, these are the things that keep me sane in withdrawal. These are my coping mechanisms. This is, like, I'm more used to it than I used to be, because I used to be so bad with withdrawal. Like, the anxiety I would get would be just so crippling that I pretty much had never really experienced withdrawal for years and years and years of having been an opiate addict. Because I would get as far as the anxiety, and then I would do anything to make it stop. So as far as, like, the actual physical symptoms, I basically hadn't experienced them. Whereas over, like, the past couple of years, having done all of these fast tapers, I've gotten more used to it, and it's really interesting with withdrawal. You do get more used to it, and you do build up a tolerance. I say this now. I think I'm going to be in there bitching and moaning and being super melodramatic, to be fair. But I say this now. You do get to a point of being more used to it and more comfortable with it, because certainly, you know, the COWS opiate scale, there's like a scoring system for how far into withdrawal you are, and they're going to be using this on me apparently. So it's kind of good that I know about it to some degree, and I know what's going on. Because I would use this on myself while I was doing these fast tapers, just to kind of keep an eye on things and see, like, you know, it kind of became a bit of a game of, like, how far can I push it before I can't bear it anymore. And it's really interesting, because when I first started doing this, my tolerance to withdrawal was so low. Like, I would barely get into, like, moderate withdrawal, and I would be just, like, freaking out and just shitting all over the place, literally and metaphorically. Whereas these days, I can get a lot further up the scale before I'm in the same state of, like, totally freaking out and totally can't take it. So it's good that I've got that experience under my belt, and I'm a little bit more used to it, because I suspect they are going to push me to the point that I am fairly much wigging out before they actually give me the new meds, which is super fun, particularly when, as I say, it seems completely unnecessary to me. And then another reason that I am shit scared about going to this place is that I'm convinced I'm going to be severely unpopular when I go to this place. That, for starters, there is the small thing, which is the thing that has always been a thing between me and other addicts, which is that I am not from where I'm from, as in my accent is not from where I live. So my whole life living up here has been a parade of, like, y'all ain't from round here, am ya? Y'all talk like you got a plum in your gob. My accent to Birmingham people, it either sounds completely foreign, or more usually it sounds really, really posh, which does not really make me any friends among other addicts, because they tend to think I'm a cop or whatever. Like, I even get it from dealers. Like, literally, all my life with dealers, it's been like, who are you buying this for? You ain't buying this for you, are you? You don't smoke, this ain't for you. And it'll be like, and sometimes I will have to play up to it, because it's the only way for them to not think I'm a cop. And I will literally have to say, yeah, I'm visiting from London, because I get so much hassle about my accent. But more than that, it's the reason that I'm at fucking rehab, that obviously most people are there to come off of whatever they're on, so they're going to be there feeling like shit for the full duration that they're there. Me, however, I'm there to literally be given an opiate. Fuck, man, if I was there coming off of everything, feeling like shit for 2 weeks, and some other fucker has to feel like shit for, like, 4 days, and then they're given an opiate and they get to keep it when they go home, I'd fucking hate that motherfucker too. And obviously, whenever I've mentioned this to workers and stuff, they've been like, well, no one has to know why you're there. You just keep your mouth shut about it. I'm like, dude, do you know me at all? Have I ever been capable of keeping my mouth shut about fucking anything? I've got no filter, man. Obviously, there is the fact that like this has not just landed in my lap by any means. It has been 5 years of bullshit to get this. But I will say, I think the two factors combined, my accent plus the reason I'm there, because I have heard a lot of griping and whinging on the internet, quite justified griping and whinging, I will say, about second line treatment generally. And the fact that it's always people like me who get it. So it's always the people who are like middle class, educated, all of that shit. Like it's never the people who don't have the education and the middle class background and all of that. Basically, if you've got, the education and the verbosity and all of that to argue for yourself, you often can get the second line treatment. But if you're not that level of educated and you can't throw big threats at them and all of this, you don't get the second line treatment. And that is true, and that is shit, and that shouldn't be that way. And that's one of the fucking reasons I'm doing this. I mean, it's largely for myself, let's be real, but I do hope that this works well for me, and I do hope this opens doors for other people, including people who are less fortunate in various ways. But it's not going to make me fucking popular at this place, for sure. On top of fucking autism and all the other things that generally don't make you a popular person in fucking social situations with new people anyway, it's going to be weird, bro. Like I literally haven't been in this kind of situation since I was like 15. And I know what the social hierarchy is like when you put a load of peers together in one place. Always what happens is that there's a scapegoat. They will find one person who's like the least popular person, who's got something weird about them, and they become the scapegoat. And everyone else bonds, everyone else makes friends over bullying the scapegoat, whether that's outright bullying them or whether that's just bitching about them behind their back. This is how new groups form. I've seen this time and time again. This is like fucking autistic pattern recognition, I guess. All the years that I went on riding holidays as a kid and as a teenager, I witnessed the same pattern repeating. That you bring all these new people together, they need a scapegoat in order for everyone else. It's the same with like, patriotism and school spirit and all of this, that you need a common enemy. You need a them and us situation in order to bond together. If there's no one to hate, you don't seem to be able to have love. And I've witnessed that enough times that it's kind of nerve-wracking to think, yeah, I've got a lot of reasons to become that scapegoat, to be fair. So I don't think it's going to be fun, but fuck it. Since when do I ever go anywhere to make friends, really? I'm not good at it. I've long since pretty much given up on it. So I am just there to get my meds, get through it. And I'm probably going to be in my room as much of the time as I possibly can. Apparently there's a TV in the room, so I am quite excited about that, because I don't have a TV at the foot of my bed generally. I'm going to have my laptop. I'm going to carry on living my life in as normal a way as I can, really, in terms of writing and crocheting and hopefully even making videos. So we'll see how that goes. That might be interesting, but that's what I hope to be doing. I'm going to be vlogging as much as I can, because I do think it's going to be an interesting process. And also vlogging just fucking keeps me sane when I'm on my own. It feels like I have a little friend in my pocket, and I have someone to talk to and someone to bitch to. And so you guys really keep me sane. So thank you for that over all the years. And you will be keeping me sane from in there too. So yeah, like it's weird. It's weird. Like I've had a lot of practice over my life being thrown into weird situations of isolation while not mentally doing very well. But just because I've got a lot of practice in it does not mean that I enjoy it or that I'm particularly good at it. If anything, I kind of have a lot of trauma around this, because it does flash me back to being a kid and being plucked out of my family every other weekend and shipped off to my dad's place, and suddenly becoming like an only child with so many more rules imposed on me than I had at home. And this was in the days before the internet, before mobile phones, so that there was literally no one to talk to. And as I've said, this is why I have such a thing for talking to myself in the mirror, because for so much of my childhood, it was like, this is the one person you can trust. This is the one person who's going to be there for you. My diary would get read. If I wrote in my diary, it would get read, and then I would get told off for what I wrote in it. So I couldn't even write down my own thoughts. It was like literally talking to yourself in the mirror. Your own face is the only one you can trust. This is the only person who's always going to be there for you. And unfortunately, me, myself, and I, there's fuck it. I'll link the chapter below about the Mirror Girl, which is kind of all about this. But yeah, you become your best friend, but in a very destructive way, because you only have the coping mechanisms that you have. And when you also kind of have pathological demand avoidance because of autism, the ideas you flash back at yourself for like getting through stuff don't tend to be very healthy. It tends to be like, we'll get through it, but what's going to keep us sane? Like, we'll fucking self-harm or purge or take a load of drugs when we get home, and that's what we'll be doing to stay sane. And those would be kind of the little things that I would remind myself of in the mirror as being, an inbuilt kind of coping skill from childhood. It's nice these days that everywhere you go, you've got your phone, you've got friends in your pocket, you've got the whole world of the internet in your pocket and all of that. But something about vlogging is like a nice combination of the two, that, you're talking to the world and you feel like you're a part of the world even when you're on your own somewhere. But it's also like a flashback to childhood and a flashback to talking to my reflection in the mirror. It's like, here's the one person you can trust and you can rely on. So I do find that vlogging really keeps me sane in shitty situations. So I will probably be doing a lot of it. And I think just having footage to edit to will give me something to do. So that will be good. If this goes horribly wrong, there are other ways I feel they could put me onto this med. By horribly wrong, I mean they force me into withdrawal. I can't take it. I freak out. I fucking leave without going on the meds. That's how I feel, like the worst case scenario. I feel if it fails that way, there are other ways they could get me onto this medication. Like, there's home team visits, there's supervised consumption. There's other things they could do, which I feel they probably should have looked at before fucking putting me in a fucking facility for 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks is how long I'm meant to be there, or up to 2 weeks. If I manage to stabilize on the meds before that, then I might get let out sooner, but basically 2 weeks. So it could be worse. It could be like 90 days or something. Fuck that, man. I know a lot of people do it, and I think you are brave as fuck, because I'm no good at committing to like huge chunks of time. I've never been on a holiday even. I think I've been on 1 2-week holiday in my life. Usually I go places for like 1 week and that's it. So going anywhere for 2 weeks for me is kind of like a big deal. But anyway, yeah, if you're in rehab right now or in a psych ward, then pipe up and tell me things. Also, if you are someone who has ever had to do withdrawal in a situation that's outside of your own control, so you can't just like take the meds whenever you feel like you need the meds, so whether that's rehab, whether that's a psych ward, whether that's prison, like somewhere awful, and you've got coping skills from that, please drop them in the thing. Tell me how to get through withdrawing when I can't go, oh, this feels a bit too shit, I'm going to take something. Because that's how I've done fast tapering, but it's always been that, whenever I feel too shit, I take a little bit of something and it just takes the edge off, and I'm not going to be able to do that. So quite scary for a control freak. So give me your tips, please. But yeah, I mean, it is good to be reminded actually that a lot of people do have this way more brutal than I have it. Because obviously, yeah, there are people who are having to do the full fucking detox in prison, or homeless or anything like that. There's people who, are in for the full detox. So it's like it starts and you're just sick until you stop being sick. Whereas at least in my case, it's like you're going to get sick, you're going to get to a certain degree, and then they're going to put you on the meds. And yeah, you're not going to feel great because it's going to be at 75%, but they're going to crank you up. And it's probably, like, fucking touch wood, it's going to be like 3, 4, 5 days of feeling semi-shit. Like, hopefully no worse than that. I hope. We'll see. But I'm quite scared. The only thing I'm excited about really is packing my bags, because if you saw my resistance vlog from the festival this spring, you know, I've majorly been into my gadgety rucksacks, and I love my vacuum packing, and I get a real kick out of packing. It's really weird, but I do. I love vacuum packing shit, except it's kind of ruined by the fact that I'm going to pack everything all vacuumed and all neat, and it's going to be beautiful. And then they're going to want to go through my shit. So they're going to get the satisfaction of, you know, unpacking all my shit and throwing it all over the place as they go through it and make sure I haven't bought any contraband. Oh, and I'm not allowed to bring perfume either, which is really pissing me off. I'm going to bring B-Pal and see how it goes, because there's no alcohol in B-Pal. That's why they don't want perfume, because it's got alcohol in it. There's no alcohol in B-Pal, so I'm hoping I can bring that. But anyway, with all of that said, that's what's happening. I am popping off to rehab. I will bring you with me, and hopefully we won't have too shit of a time. Good luck to anyone else in a similar situation. If you want more information on second line treatment and all that bollocks, as I say, the book that I wrote, Exit Note, info in the drop down box and all of that. And as I say, if all of this works out, then I will give you all the fucking details about the med that I have wound up on and how it's going and all of that. But I kind of don't want to jinx it. Until I get there, so we shall see. Oh God, let's hope it's not too shitty. Let's hope that there's not like cigarette smoke coming in my room, because it makes me violently sick these days. I used to be a smoker, now I'm not, because of ending up with fucking health issues from vaping. I'll leave that video link below if you're interested. So I'm really hoping my room's not going to be anywhere near the smoking area, because if I am, that's going to be a major problem. The food sounds terrifying. I've had to send them a message about the food, because it's all like sausages and stuff, and I barely eat meat. Like I eat a reasonable amount of chicken, but other than that, I don't really eat meat. And it's all quite meaty, and I'm like, what the fuck? I haven't eaten this in years. It's probably going to make me sick. Oh, I hope it doesn't smell weird. Such an autistic gripe there. Oh, I hope it doesn't smell weird. I hope my bed's comfortable. I hope I survive in the sanity sense. There's a lot of stuff about drug treatment and stuff that I wanted to say in this video and that I haven't really gotten around to, and it's maybe not the time, so leave myself a few things to say while I'm there in case I need to let off some steam. So anyway, good luck to anyone else who is on a psych ward or a rehab or a prison or wherever you may be at this present time, and see you soon. See you on the other side. Doodle pip.